Today on Tommy's Camping Adventure, we take a look into the bizarre side of Tommy's art.
My name's Tommy Bell. I am, among many things, a stand-up comedian, a musician, and an artist. Sometimes I create traditional representational art, which may contain elements of detail or realism. Other times I may create paintings that are looser or more expressive to evoke a different feeling or mood. And then there's those moments where something inside of me happens and I cross over into the world of the bizarre and I make something like this strange comic book I'm working on entitled A Tragic Waste of Time. I don't know exactly how I got here, but I can tell you this. I like the bizarre. I like bizarre places. I like bizarre people. I like bizarre movies. I like bizarre things. Oh yeah, I forgot one thing. Comic books. Lots and lots of comic books. I knew at a very early age after making one of my first pieces of art that this was going to be a big part of my life. Everywhere I go, I look for the bizarre, or the haunting, or the good times, or any other kind of mood or emotion, and I can pour it all into the art I create. By the way, this is the bathroom at the Bigfoot Museum. If you go there, make sure you hold the handle down. And while we're at it, this is about as good a time as any to tell you, I kinda got a thing for bizarre bathrooms. After all, bathrooms are places. They're bizarre places. And every now and then when I'm lucky, I'll find one and I'll even con a friend into having a picture taken. This is a painting I did of a urinal in my college rec center. If I see something weird, I document it. It might be a baby doll in a cage. It might be an animal. It might be a can of Wash Away Your Sins. It might be a sign for midget wrestling. It might be a female pilgrim playing a banjo at a puppet show. It might be a dead possum on the beach. It could be something gross to eat at a fair. It could even be a service vehicle for Budinsky Services. I also look to nature, where I can find beauty in the bizarre. And of course, I look to art. Lots and lots of beautiful art whenever I can. And now a word from our sponsor. I'm not an overly religious person, but I do believe it's important to set up your nativity scene every Christmas. I know I always sleep better when I do. This message was brought to you by Forbush and Forbush, attorneys at law. And we're back. I am standing in front of a Jackson Pollock painting in the National Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C. I oftentimes do paintings like these, not to copy him, but to try and understand the way he sees the world. I also do other types of abstracts. Usually it's so I can play with color and different types of mark making. Usually when I'm done with a project, I have leftover paint. I've been casting that leftover paint off onto this canvas for about 7 years now. This painting has changed several times now, and I look forward to see where it will go. Can you dig that, man?
Far out!
Here's a couple more I did, but you get the idea. The point is, when I see abstract art, I take a picture. Let's get back to the comics. After all, I've been drawing them all my life. Sometimes I do a single panel, like this one, where Alex Trebek is shutting down Jesus on Jeopardy. But I prefer making full-page comics, like this one, Tales from the Amazon, a comic book I made while I worked at Amazon during the pandemic. I'll just read the top line. Tonight, Tommy, we're going to put you on the conveyor belt. Cool, I've always wanted to ride on that thing. You're not going to ride on it, you're going to work at the conveyor belt. Well, that doesn't sound like any fun. It's not. Remind me again while we're doing this, because this is a job and you work here. Yikes! We're not thrilled about it either. This is another one I really enjoyed. It's about me getting a walkie-talkie and annoying everyone in the warehouse with it. This was the longest one I did, a 3-page story about me pretending to be gay so my manager would hire me to be her assistant. It doesn't put anyone down, except for me, for being lazy, trying to preserve my job and get a raise. Anyways, I did a whole bunch of these. Too many to show in this short video. I really enjoyed making them though because it gives me a chance to combine my art, my writing, and my comedy. And if they're going by too quick for you to read, good. Maybe you'll buy my comic book because that's my next project, is to put these together so I can make them available to sell. Look, I even have one in color. That must have been from the Sunday paper. I know we've covered a lot of ground already, but there are some other things we should discuss that go into my bizarre art making. Let's start with random things I obsess on. Gilligan's Island, The $6 Million Man, Pre-Mad Magazine and unlicensed images of Alfred E. Newman, The movie Fireball Jungle. Lost in Space. Barry Manilow. This Thing. Francis Bacon. Planet of the Apes. I feel like I'm leaving something out. Oh, now I remember. My great-grandfather's appendix. The appendix is an object. And objects are awesome. They're sculptures, they're cool, they're fun to collect, and of course they can be bizarre. Here's a piece I made in junior high shop. 1980 to be exact. And here's a wire sculpture I did of myself in 2023. Alfred E. Newman relief sculpture. One Shemp Howard refrigerator magnet. And of course, Alfred E. Newman painted on a rock. Sometimes I'll just take an object and paint it myself. So on top of all these bizarre things we've talked about so far, we also have just the regular good old-fashioned bizarre images that we're bombarded with in daily pop culture. You don't have to be an artist to see how bizarre it all is, but you can turn it into fuel for your art. At least that's what I've been taught from the old masters. And I'm no dummy. Here's a print I did by subtracting ink from a metal plate. It is a self-portrait. And here's a painting I call Purple Nipsey. Faces with character, places with character. An online Facebook challenge, but you decide to use an old grade school picture instead of one now. Art shows with friends. Painting a picture of a friend without telling them, and then layering it up to make it hyper-realistic. Yes, there's an awful lot that goes into being bizarre. Doodles of friends. 20-minute paintings you do before breakfast. Paintings that are done with only 3 colors. I could go on, but you get the idea. Don't you, ooh? When you think about it, bizarre is all around us. You just gotta look for it. Really look for it. Until next time, stay bizarre.